And now, broadcasting live from Las Vegas, the Snake Sports Talk Show with Jake Silva starts now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We are live on a Friday. Yes, we finally made it to that time. Boy, is it an interesting recap of the NFL last night. Jets and Patriots. We've got it for you on the Snake Sports Talk Show, wherever and however you may be watching and listening. Thanks for making us a part of your day. We got NFL prime predictions. We got so much to talk about. And man, postseason baseball is always exciting to watch. And I cannot wait for October. I'll be talking about that briefly here up and on the program. But the thing I want to get into is we got to talk about last night. So first and foremost, the Jets go on to win. Good for them. I'm happy of the fact that the New York Jets, they were able to come away with a win against their division rival, the New England Patriots, even though they look like a rebuilding team. Clearly, the talent looked lopsided, and the Jets, as you know, they had better talent than the Patriots. But here's one thing to keep in mind of that I think is interesting, is that even though that the Jets won that game 24-3, the thing I think about with the Jets, can you tell how just much of a dink and dunk type offense that Jets offense looks like with Aaron Rodgers? Now, Aaron, though, however, what I like about this is that he's moving out of the pocket to create space. You have to move in this league. It was hard for Kirk Cousins, at least in week one, to move around, but he finally got the legs moving. The Falcons look like a very interesting team, and they're going to be going up against Kansas City on Sunday night, and I cannot wait for it. I think it could be an upset alert, but as everybody knows up on BetUS, this is going to be an interesting type of matchup, and I can't wait for that. But what was interesting and what I initially thought, I had to kind of take a step back and kind of look at what I was going to end up getting. And the Jets, they had 6 points on their favorite. Now, my hometown of Vegas in the last 2 weeks and even up to start of week 3 has been trying to manipulate. They have been trying to manipulate the way that we look at the game, the structure of their rosters, and what exactly, defenses, offenses have looked like lately. And yet with Aaron Rodgers, with the dink and dunk type offense, it just tells you one thing. This is not going to be an easy road to even get into the playoffs. Many people before the season started all thought the Jets were going to win 13, 12 games. No, not in this league. Not with how everybody's situations has been tested all week long. I'm going the exact opposite. I honestly do believe that I think the Jets could potentially be a playoff team, but that's not an easy journey road to get to. I don't even think, in my opinion, when I ended up breaking it down, I didn't even think the Jets could potentially be a playoff team. I didn't, because I'm looking at the state of the organization, the way that the talent and the structure is, and especially with how consistent that roster is. And with a head coach like Robert Saleh, who's coaching for his job, he's trying to make everything work. It's not that easy. So to think that they would win 12 to 13 games in the AFC East is nonsense. And that's where I kind of felt a little different by that. So, you can honestly tell me this and that. It doesn't matter to me. But this is strongly how I feel and how I believe that this will turn out to be. I think that the Jets, it's not going to be an easy road. But at least Aaron Rodgers, I could feel happy that the Jets have a winning record today at 2-1. Then I could feel about them in over the last, probably like 10, 15 years, maybe more than that. You watched Fireman Ed. He's over there hyping it up. He's getting excited and he's fired up. He's fired up with the way that the season is going. And he's fired up, honestly, with how with how the circumstances and how these challenges are going to look for them. I honestly do believe that the Jets may get to a point. They may get up and into a point where it gets harder, it gets tougher, and who knows? They might actually outlast throughout the remaining of the season. We're only in week 3, so there's still plenty of time left. So I'm not worried about that. I think that's initially with how you got to see this. So, inarguably, that's kind of where I'm at today. But it did feel good for Jet fans to finally be excited for something. It really does. And the fact that we could just share that moment together and we could be okay with it. Good for the Jets. Now, here's something I do want to talk about here in the AFC East because I want to stay on this topic. So, for people that thought the AFC East was going to be the Jets or the Dolphins division, look at the talents. Look at the coaching. The only ones that I see right now, Sean McDermott is a strong coach. Mike McDaniel's a very good coach for the Dolphins. And you're looking at Robert Saleh coaching for his job. And then there's the Patriots with Jerod Mayo. Clearly, the Patriots were a under-talented type team. They don't have the firepower. They're clearly rebuilding. And I don't even know if Drake May, honestly, will work with this. So we have that to think about. So the AFC East, as I've said, was going to be an interesting division because right now Tua is out for 4 weeks for the Dolphins. Now you're starting Skylar Thompson, and I don't think that offense is going to look the same. Skylar Thompson has a quarterback rating of at least like 58, 60. So it's kind of hard right now with the state of the Dolphins. They paid Tua all that money, and they're trying to make things work. They're trying to make things at least. They're trying to get by with some of this stuff. I don't know if they can. It may be a hard one. Then you look at the Jets with that dink and dunk offense. That's not scaring the Bills. As I've said to everybody, people thought that there were some of those. People thought that there were some of those that was very, very interesting that I think the Jets, the Dolphins would have won this division. Okay, remember years ago. Think about how easy it was to dethrone the Patriots with Tom Brady. It really wasn't. Tom Brady was dominant. The Patriots dynasty was dominant for 20 years. It was absolute hell for everybody in the division, including the Bills. It was not that easy. Then the Bills drafted Josh Allen. They got a talented quarterback. Things were starting to look up. In the rookie season, Josh Allen, he made a lot of mistakes. He had to clean some things up. When Brian Daboll got there, and then when there were multiple other coordinators, Josh Allen has built himself into the quarterback that we know and love. And I love Josh Allen. I've never doubted with how the state of the Buffalo Bills was going to look like in this division. But I have been saying this with multiple people and really close people who cover a lot of these teams respectfully. They know that this is not a division that's an easy cakewalk. The Bills, for the last 4 years, have won this division. It's very hard to trump at least a team. And think about it this way. It had taken the Patriots 20 years. So they were never dethroned that easily. That's why the Patriots and Tom Brady caused a lot of hell for every other team. But the Bills and Josh Allen, I can be sure about for 4 straight years. You think they lack the talent? You think that the defense is no good? You think the run game is subpar? No, it's the opposite. Run game is fantastic with James Cook. They got rid of all of the hurt, expensive contracts. They were old. And that's why the Bills made that move, because they want to get younger at defense. The other thing is, look at how the state of the offensive line looked. It was not that strong. They needed to fix up the offensive line. I do feel like, though, when they lost Mitch Morse, kind of was a bit of one that they could have replaced, but it was not that easy. Not that easy for the Bills. But yet, somehow, some way, the Bills are currently 2-0. Now, they have an interesting matchup, though, this week. But I have bought everybody's stock on the Bills because all of you sold your stock on Josh Allen and the Bills. I didn't. I bought every one of them because you know what? If you're going to throw in the towel on the Bills, don't be surprised that Josh Allen would win the division and would be back in the playoffs because, like I said before, it only was a 10% dip once Stephon Diggs left. That's all it took. It did not take that. It did not take that much off the Bills. If you honestly are doubting Josh Allen right now, and after what I saw last night with the Jets and the Patriots, that dink and dunk offense that Aaron Rodgers and apparently Nate Hackett is working with, and then the Dolphins losing Tua for 4 weeks, Josh Allen and the Bills are going to be fine. That's a division that is not easy. It's not easy to really take over. So that's why the division itself runs through Josh Allen. So, I mean, you could go ahead and say you've got all these pieces and then be done with it. But not that easy. It's not that easy for everyone. The Bills will be fine. The Bills, I'd say, will win this division. They'll be back in the playoffs. And when people are like, well, they don't have any receiver talent, that's not going to matter. That response is not going to matter for Buffalo. Got to tell you, I mean, I feel good about the Jets, but I have reservations with this kind of dink and dunk offense because eventually you're going to need to open up and get big plays. They have not generated plays that are 20-plus yards downfield. That's why I think with Aaron Rodgers, him moving up out the pocket, trying to create space, that's a good look. It's a good look. But there's a part of me that I know for a fact that will certainly give me a bit of some fits. I guarantee you that's exactly where we're looking at it with that. So do not be surprised. I mean, this is initially with what we're looking at here. So, but I think the AFC East, it's still going to remain the Bills. The Jets and the Dolphins are probably going to end up fighting for that second spot, but it depends on Tua's health, and then it also depends on the fluidity for the Jets. That's what it looks like. And then the Patriots obviously are rebuilding. They're not anywhere close anytime soon. So you got plenty of time. All right. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff indeed. So lots of good matchups. I do apologize, though, for everybody because I thought we would have at least gotten the graphics in today, but doesn't appear to be the case. But we will still have our prime predictions at the bottom half of the hour as well because first week 7-9, last week 8-8. I'm trying to get on a good streak here. So let's get her going. All right, folks. Well, the NFL season has been nothing short of amazing to start as we are getting ready for week 3. But with all that being said, how have you guys not checked out BetUS yet? BetUS has been one of the best sportsbook online markets nationwide for 30 years. BetUS has you covered on everything during this entirety of the NFL season. All the best sports betting line, through all the best expertises for the sports book analysis, and so much more to choose from. Postseason baseball is right up around the corner. That's going to be a lot of fun too. Check out BetUS for yourselves because when you deposit $50 or more into those deposits, 125% bonuses guarantees a matchup to $2,000. So which means the more you deposit, the more the bonuses continue to go up. So that you have more opportunity and more chances, get in on the action, get in on the fun, and win some prize money. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER and seek therapy in your respective states. Do not overly gamble your savings. Gamble responsibly when you use BetUS. They got some of their casino games as well. All of this provided for your entertainment and for your sports betting needs with BetUS. BetUS, where the NFL season begins.
Looking for a show with the best takes and opinions? Want a show with the best coverage around the world of sports? Jam-packed with an all-star interview lineup? Then the best place to find it all, sports and entertainment, is right here. Join Jake Silva on the Snake Sports Talk Show, presented by SeatGeek and BetUS. Weeknights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on Sports Wave Network.
Want to find your seat for the event of your choice but can't get one that fits your desire or your budget? Well, my friends, SeatGeek has you covered. SeatGeek is the official sponsor of the Snake Sports Talk Show. With a list of over hundreds of events to choose from, SeatGeek will assure you that you won't miss your seat with the amazing view of your choice at the most affordable price. Whether it's looking for your best seat in the house of your favorite sports team, finding live concerts that get you closer to your favorite artist, or enjoying your spot at your favorite live shows, comedies, and more, SeatGeek has it all just for you. Go online to SeatGeek.com or download the app on your mobile device through Google Play and the App Store. And as a special offer before checkout, use promo code SNAKESPORTS and save yourself $20 off of your purchase of your first ticket, and experience why SeatGeek is the most trusted ticketing app for your next event. Remember, that's SeatGeek.com and download the app on your phone with promo code SNAKESPORTS for $20 off and find your seat with SeatGeek.
Check out the Con Man live on the Sports Corner, coming to a screen near you, giving you the greatest stories from basketball legends you've never seen before. Sharing their glory, building the toughness, and how they show off their swag. But only one man knows all that, and that's the Con Man. Join Michael Conceição, the Con Man, at the Sports Corner, Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 Pacific on Sports Wave Network.
Back with you here on the Snake Sports Talk Show. And, you know, people that have known me for a very long time, I've always said this, like, I was always a baseball fan first before the NFL became very, close to me. And it don't help the fact that, I literally have to cover up the NFL all the time. But one of the things that I could very much be grateful for is that we have the talent that we do in Major League Baseball. So what I mean by that is that because over the years, okay, I've grown up watching the dominance of the Yankees. I have watched Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, so many other big-time players, Derek Jeter, all the loyal players who have been there for a very long time on their respective organizations. And baseball's always had a soft spot for me. I've even grown up to where I've listened to Vin Scully all the time when a Dodger game was going on. And it was so much fun. It was one of the best moments we could have. So one of the interesting things, and when I look at this, is that Shohei Ohtani last night did one of the most amazing things in Major League Baseball history, and it's not even close. And this is what we are grateful and lucky for. Because right now, Shohei Ohtani last night went 6 for 6, 3 home runs, has 51 home runs, 51 stolen bases, and could potentially be on pace for 60-60. That's never been done before by many players. And listen, Japanese-born player, but he is arguably right now turning into one of the greatest players that we are seeing currently in the sport. Okay, domestic players, we've always had a love for Mookie Betts and for Mike Trout. But when Shohei Ohtani came into the scene, the kid's unbelievable. The kid can hit, the kid can pitch, and this year, he took a step back from pitching because he was dealing with Tommy John. So he won't be back into his pitching form until next year. I know a lot of people have been flirting with the idea that he may potentially pitch in the postseason. The Dodgers clinched a postseason berth, so you already know that they're going to be postseason bound. That was a given. And so for Shohei Ohtani, this is the first player in history hitting 50 home runs and hitting 50 stolen and have 50 stolen bases. That's never been done by any major league player in history to be a part of the 50-50 club. We have always, for years, I remember when the last Dodger that tried to make the 40-40 club was Matt Kemp. Okay, I remember that immaculate 2011 run, and he was going for the MVP season, but unfortunately was snubbed by Ryan Braun from the Milwaukee Brewers. And I honestly thought Matt Kemp was much more deserving of it because of the accomplishment that he's done. But here's the other side note. We've got Aaron Judge right now that is on the Triple Crown watch. He's already leading the league in home runs. He's leading the league in RBIs, and he's only second in batting average. So we have two of the most prolific players in Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge, and both of them playing for the two richest franchises in America, the Dodgers and the Yankees. The funny thing about Aaron Judge, with his body size, with his discipline, with his control, Aaron Judge always knows how to crowd the box. You cannot pitch the ball anywhere around him. That's the kind of player he is. And we've seen him where he hit the most home runs in his career. But to see him potentially go for that Triple Crown, let me tell you something about two of these players. Because it takes me back to the last time we had a hype like this. You remember back in 1998, the long summer between both Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, who were chasing for the home run crown. And Mark McGwire stood up tall. 70 home runs that year. It was unbelievable. He broke Roger Maris's home run record of 61, getting to 62, and the Maris family, they were there to witness it. And not to mention, when Sammy Sosa, because he had some injuries and he also had at a point where he kind of hit a cold streak, did not quite finish up the same way. And so that's where it was all left for Mark McGwire. And he won it. Won that home run derby that year. And I believe he also won MVP. I mean, that was the last time we've ever had a hype like this. And the fact that we're seeing this right now with Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge is one of the reasons we have to be so lucky as sport fans and as baseball fans to witness that. Here was the sound of the call last night.
Ohtani sends one in the air. The other way. Back it goes. Gone! One-of-a-kind player. One-of-a-kind season. Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club.
What a beautiful feeling it is to honestly be grateful for the fact that we have talents like that. Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge. It's unbelievable. I could not be more happy. And yet think about how much that it honestly just makes me feel so good inside, knowing that all the talents in Major League Baseball, it's been such a fun ride. And honestly, it's only going to continue to get better from there. All right, time for the news.
This is the Hot Press.
All right, so some spicy stuff already in the hot press. So one of the big news and something we've been keeping an eye on. So the Chargers on a fantastic 2-0 start. They're facing off against the Pittsburgh Steelers this week. And they did not return back to Los Angeles after that Carolina game. They stayed in the East Coast and they went into Pittsburgh right away. So the question mark is on the health of quarterback Justin Herbert, who is questionable with a high ankle sprain. So he said today that the doctors diagnosed him with a high right ankle sprain. And he said that his status for Sunday's game against the Pittsburgh Steelers is yet to be decided. Herbert said the pain in his ankle is not great. And he walked with a limp after his news conference. He said, thankfully, it's only Friday. It is what it is. It's all about getting treatment and making sure that it's at its best and doing everything I can to limit the swelling, limit the pain, and just keep moving things forward. So Justin Herbert is listed questionable for Sunday's game. He did not practice on Wednesday or Friday this week, and he was limited up on Thursday. And Jim Harbaugh said that Herbert not practicing Friday wasn't a sign of any regression in Herbert's recovery, but rather was part of the plan set out by the athletic training staff. So Herbert said every day it's been getting better. It's just getting it to a point where you feel comfortable going out there and being able to move. So Harbaugh did say that Easton Stick would be the starter if Herbert couldn't play. But on Friday, Harbaugh appeared to backtrack on that statement, saying, until I really know exactly what Justin's status is, I'm not going to really reveal any of what the contingencies are. I don't know. I mean, this is trench warfare at the end of the day. My thing with Justin Herbert, and it's funny because one other quarterback who's going through this is Jordan Love. They've had news about Jordan Love saying that he could potentially return back into the game. He could return back by this week or next week. But the hard part about that is because you also are considering this. The Packers are playing the Titans. The Chargers are playing the Steelers. And then next week, what do both of them have to face? Division rivals. The Packers have to then face the Minnesota Vikings, and then the Chargers have to face against the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's kind of a hard all question to honestly think about, because at the end of this thing, hopefully we'll get some positive news up on Justin Herbert at some point, but it is kind of hard knowing that this is just one of those points. Do you drop it, take a dip against the Pittsburgh Steelers and save Herbert for that division rival game against the Kansas City Chiefs? That's a hard part. So it's one of those things. I'm trying to kind of, look at it in a way where it might be interesting to kind of watch, but it is it's interesting to kind of see it, but hopefully we'll get some positive news here in the coming days. All right, so some news on another injury, which was basically Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins. He did not play last week against the Kansas City Chiefs. But Joe Burrow and company, they looked pretty good. They looked like they were definitely giving Kansas City fits. So T. Higgins, who was out with a hamstring injury, plans to return for Monday Night Football against the Washington Commanders. So saying that he feels 100% healthy and looks like he could be playing at full strength. Higgins did end up mentioning after practice today, I feel great. Obviously, unfortunate with the injury, sat out the first 2 weeks, but finally ready to get my feet wet this season and ready to go. He felt good through warm-ups before last week's game against the Kansas City Chiefs, but however, they wanted to be cautious with the full workload and all the rest of it. So that's one of the things, with T. Higgins and with the rest of, this wide receiver core. By the way, how good did Jermaine Burton and a couple others on this receiving core look? Joe Burrow was clearly working with a lot of his receivers, whether he had T. Higgins or he had Jamar Chase out. Burrow was doing whatever it took to spread the football around and at least keep the Bengals in scoring position. And I thought it was very impressive. So I think the Bengals, because yes, the Bengals are 1-1 right now, but they're 0-2 right now, but you could feel good about the possibility of them 0-2 because the fact that you look at this and you just kind of say to yourself, well, getting T. Higgins back is something. It's something here. So I think the Bengals will be fine. I think the Bengals, I'm taking them against the Washington Commanders, though, in Monday Night Football. I'm going to take them, and I think they'll be okay with it. I think it's going to work out for them just fine, and we'll see what happens come, throughout the stretch. So finally, here's what we saw about the Green Bay Packers quarterback Jordan Love. He was listed as questionable against the Titans, and so for the second straight Friday, Jordan Love was listed as questionable on their injury report. It could be a downgrade to a doubtful. After not practicing all last week, Love took part in 3 practices this week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and was in limited fashion. And Matt LaFleur said that they will take it right up until inactives are due 90 minutes before Sunday's kickoff against the Titans if necessary. When asked about if Love was medically cleared to play, LaFleur mentioned we're working through that. So Jordan Love, who suffered the sprained MCL in his left knee in that season opener against the Eagles, good thing it was not a tear. It was a good thing it did not end up becoming a tear. So LaFleur said, I think there's definitely a lot that's up to him. You don't want to put somebody in that position, but certainly he's doing everything in his power. He wants to be out there more than anybody, and we'll work through it. We'll give it up to a game time, and we'll see where we're at. And like I said, this is the same similar situation when you look at Justin Herbert and the Chargers, because you don't want to end up risking more of that injury, because you have to ask yourself, would you rather just throw a game away, just one game, for the sake of the entirety of the season, because you're potentially going to become a playoff team? And I think that's initially with what they're at. That's the crossroad. So I think with both the Chargers and with the Packers dealing with quarterback issues right now with injuries, I think it would be best and safe to say maybe you cough this one up and maybe you honestly just see exactly with where this goes. Now, Herbert might be different because of just the comfortability of the foot, but they are in fact taking precautionary actions as of right now, and they're taking it step by step. So who knows how this will work? Who knows exactly where this will be? But hopefully we'll find that out, and we'll figure it out in the coming days. But that's where we're kind of at now at this point. Whew. All right. That's it for the news.
This is the Hot Press.
NFL Prime Predictions is hot, and we are ready for it. Because honestly, these games, there's a couple stay-away games here. Like, there's a couple of them, but I could smell the dogs barking here today. Honestly, because the reason I say that is because there are going to be matchups that I think could turn around very quickly. So I'm going to I'll reveal my prime predictions here in just a moment once I get them all ready to go. But I honestly do think that there's going to be those points, like anything could happen. So my takeaway of it is with these underdogs, because again, these 6 points have been like, stay away of those 6 points. Because I'm not going to end up risking on either of those if those go wrong. Now, the only thing is that there are some of those, like the Jets game last night. It was a 6-point game. And I'm looking at that, and I'm like, yeah, how in the world could that be possible? I feel like that is one. If it gets cooking really, really good, like if it honestly clicks on all cylinders, I could be okay with that. I could be okay with living with the fact that may be one of those interesting margin games that they go ahead and they cover those 6 points. I mean, give it to them. Give it to them on that game. Because those are never easy. They're never easy in these positions. So I will give those teams credit. But like I said, I do believe that there are going to be some ugly games, though, in my opinion. I do think there's going to be a part in it where you might not actually see this the same. It might be different. So we'll find out. We'll find out eventually how this will turn out. But I think it's pretty clear. These dogs are barking. These are ones that I'm like, there's more of these games I'm not a fan of. Like, these are one of those weeks. I think the thing is are there going to be some things that are going to be exposed? Because at the end of the day, if it shows up consistency, I can be okay with that. But if I get a different result, then that might have me question. That may have me question that line altogether. But I know my hometown of Vegas. Sometimes it's a strong tendency where they try to manipulate. It's a very strong tendency. Now, there are some teams that I felt like defensively, they have been playing immaculate. And I think for the most part, there have also been some teams that have been playing kind of shaky. They've been generating some wins, but I think we also have seen some of those. We've seen some of those concerns show out for itself. So I just think that this is underdog week. I think this is clearly underdog week. I don't like it as much, but I could tolerate it at least for now. So let's see what happens. Let's see where it ends up, where it lands, and I think we could be okay with that. So, all right. While we get these prime predictions ready to roll and ready to go, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be some interesting stuff this week. But we'll be back here upon a moment, and then it is NFL prime predictions.
Want to find your seat for the event of your choice but can't get one that fits your desire or your budget? Well, my friends, SeatGeek has you covered. SeatGeek is the official sponsor of the Snake Sports Talk Show. With a list of over hundreds of events to choose from, SeatGeek will assure you that you won't miss your seat with the amazing view of your choice at the most affordable price. Whether it's looking for your best seat in the house of your favorite sports team, finding live concerts that get you closer to your favorite artist, or enjoying your spot at your favorite live shows, comedies, and more, SeatGeek has it all just for you. Go online to SeatGeek.com or download the app on your mobile device through Google Play and the App Store. And as a special offer before checkout, use promo code SNAKESPORTS and save yourself $20 off of your purchase of your first ticket and experience why SeatGeek is the most trusted ticketing app for your next event. Remember, that's SeatGeek.com and download the app on your phone with promo code SNAKESPORTS for $20 off and find your seat with SeatGeek.
Listen up, sports fans. Your favorite sportsbook, BetUS.com, is back for our 28th year of NFL action. With the industry's biggest sign-up bonus of up to 200%, BetUS offers our members the opportunity to cash in on all your favorite sports, including NFL, NBA, MLB, and more. We've also got hundreds of new casino games, including the coolest new European slots, and our live dealers are waiting for you at the table. Sign up at BetUS.com today to get into the action. BetUS, where the game begins.
Snake Sports Talk Show is sponsored by Muscle Tech, with hundreds of supplements and vitamins to choose from, all packed with 100% all-natural proven ingredients. You can be sure that Muscle Tech will give you the edge and the boost to train and look like your fit and healthy best, whatever your goals are. Try Muscle Tech today and use promo code SNAKESPORTS to save 30% off your purchases.
Check out the Con Man live on the Sports Corner, coming to a screen near you, giving you the greatest stories from basketball legends you've never seen before. Sharing their glory, building the toughness, and how they show off their swag. But only one man knows all that, and that's the Con Man. Join Michael Conceição, the Con Man, at the Sports Corner, Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 Pacific on Sportsway Network.
Looking for a show with the best takes and opinions? Want a show with the best coverage around the world of sports? Jam-packed with an all-star interview lineup? Then the best place to find it all, sports and entertainment, is right here. Join Jake Silva on the Snake Sports Talk Show, presented by SeatGeek and BetUS. Weeknights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on Sports Wave Network.
Want to find your seat for the event of your choice but can't get one that fits your desire or your budget? Well, my friends, SeatGeek has you covered. SeatGeek is the official sponsor of the Snake Sports Talk Show. With a list of over hundreds of events to choose from, SeatGeek will assure you that you won't miss your seat with the amazing view of your choice at the most affordable price. Whether it's looking for your best seat in the house of your favorite sports team,
all right, we are ready for NFL Prime predictions here, guys. It is going to be a lot of fun. And as we always have said, BetUS has you covered. All odds are provided by BetUS. I apologize for everybody for as far as our our graphics. I thought we would have had them ready this week. Oh, well. I did, however, take the Jets in that 6 points last night. So we came away with a win. But now we've got more of our NFL Prime predictions. So here we go. Cue the music.
Let's turn it up. It's Jake's Prime Predictions.
All right, so this might be an interesting game to say the least because of the fact Justin Herbert's health and with the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm not intimidated by their offense at all. I'm going to take the Chargers at +2. I just feel like it's going to be a weird, wonky game at the end of it. If you actually look at it, these are 2 of the top best defenses right now in the league. The Chargers have the best scoring defense. They have also held opponents on rushing yards, and they've also locked down a lot of their receiving cores. What the Pittsburgh Steelers offense has looked like, this is a stay-away game for me, by the way, with this particular game at the +2 is because Justin Fields and company, when they ended up going against the Falcons, which was a mismatch, they only scored 18. And then this past week in flags galore out here in Denver against the Broncos, they only generated 13. So to me personally, I feel like both defenses are going to clash. Not to mention, there's some hurt on that offensive line. I will take the Chargers here in a weird, wonky one. Status on Justin Herbert is in fact questionable, but I will take them here with a close trench warfare bloodbath, 17-16. Chargers win this one on the road. Okay, so because of the humiliating and yet inconsistent Sunday night game against the Houston Texans, I'm confident I will take the Chicago Bears at +1. Listen, the offensive line looked atrocious in 2 weeks. They've got to clean that up. This is the perfect opportunity for the Chicago Bears and for Caleb Williams to pick this up. Why? Because the Colts' defensive front, it looks so bad. It is horrible. They are the worst rushing defense right now in the league. No DeForest Buckner. No, a lot of their offensive fronts they've been hurt. Their defensive fronts has been very decimated with injuries. And the Colts, by the way, Anthony Richardson, good God, he looked bad. 3 interceptions last week. That's against a Packers team with Malik Willis. So that's why I think the Bears, they got embarrassed on Sunday night, even though the defense played their tails off against the Texans, which was interesting because of how C.J. Stroud looked. He got sacked a couple times. I see the Bears defense holding on, and I will take them to win this one with a +1. Another stay-away game for me personally because of this, but I will take them to win 21-20. I know a lot of people are banking on the Minnesota Vikings at home with a road team like the Houston Texans, but I'm going to take the Texans at -1. What people forget is that even when C.J. Stroud was under duress, he made some beautiful throws. Did you see that throw to Tank Dell? Did you see that throw to Nico Collins? The Texans' defense, though, we know it's brand new pieces. The defense kind of seemed like it was a little bit shaky. However, though, it's going to be one of those games that I feel like that it could be a go either way. Sam Darnold has looked very, very good. Now, the secondary for the Texans, it is going to be interesting. But I think the Texans, if they're smart enough and they honestly battle through those injuries, they could be an interesting team, though, all the way through and through. I will take the Texans. It'll be a fun game, though. Either way, on the road in Minnesota, I will take the Texans to win on the road 24-21. Okay, listen, I know a lot of people in Cleveland are probably going to hate me for this, no matter how much I really, really just dislike this look of the New York Giants. But I'm going to take the Giants' point at +6.5. Now, I do not believe the Giants will win the game. That's not the case. My case is that with the Giants, they've got a defensive front that can get into a decimated, injury-brittled Cleveland Browns, who Deshaun Watson has just got to get the football going. Because right now, the Browns, they look inconsistent. I think a lot of this is because Deshaun Watson looks and feels overwhelmed. But that Giants team, though, however, the offensive line actually played much better last week against the Washington Commanders. Even though I don't trust Daniel Jones as much, all I need him to do is just distribute the football. They've got Malik Neighbors. They got a couple of other players that are up and in there. They just have to distribute the football. I'll take the Giants plus 6.5, but I still believe Cleveland, at home, it's going to be so ugly to watch, but I think the Cleveland Browns, depending on how things work out, I'll take them to win 17 to 13. Okay, listen, I love the fact that the Saints are on their hot streak. Okay, I could also respect the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles last week, with that kind of play and that kind of outcome situationally, that was humiliating. I will take the Eagles at +3 on the road in New Orleans. Now, here's the difference maker, okay? This is not a Dallas Cowboy defense that they're facing off against. New Orleans was walking all over Carolina, and they were walking all over the Cowboys. Now, I love Clint Kubiak, and I love with how the offense has flowed with Alvin Kamara in this offense. But this defense of the Eagles, it's a little different. But here's the other thing, though, too. No A.J. Brown could be the difference maker. But after what I saw, Jalen Hurts could end up running the football. Saquon Barkley looked very, very good. The offense still has at least those adjustments. But we know that defensively, they need to make some adjustments. I think the Eagles, they're pissed after the last matchup against the Falcons. I'll take Philadelphia to win in a close one. I think it's interesting, but I'll take them here on the road 23-20 against the Saints. But I think the Saints could definitely end up putting up some fits here in this game. All right, so with flags galore out here in Denver, it was just bad. It was so boring, and it was bad to watch. I'm going to take the Denver Broncos, though, however, at +6, but I do believe Tampa wins this game. And the only reason is because the Broncos defense, by the way, when they played the Pittsburgh Steelers, did you notice how many times not only did they hold, but they were also playing pretty pissed off. They held Pittsburgh to 13 points. We know it's a BB gun offense, but here's the other thing, though, too, is that Baker Mayfield has looked fantastic for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now they are going back. Now they are going home, and Denver's on the road. Eventually, Sean Payton needs to make this offense work. He's got to get it right, because otherwise, it's not going to be the best look for the Denver Broncos moving forward with a rookie quarterback who's basically thrown into the wolves. But I think Baker Mayfield and company, with him cooking with both Mike Evans and with Chris Godwin, I'll take the points here with +6 and take Tampa still to win 23-17. A nice, comfortable win, but not an easy one here up at home. Okay, so just because that, Jordan Love, we got a chance to see him up onto the field, I personally would not play him. However, I will still take the Packers points at +3. The difference making of it is because, yes, the offense looks a little different with Malik Neighbor or with Malik Willis. But here's the difference. That defense for the Green Bay Packers, it looked pretty damn good. It was giving the Eagles fits, and it was also giving the Colts fits, where it caused Anthony Richardson to throw for 3 interceptions. By the way, they're going back-to-back AFC South opponents here, because what they did to the Colts, last week, and then not to mention the mistake that Will Levis ended up playing with here, I think it'll be interesting, though, at the end of it. Now, I do think the Titans could potentially pull out this win, but I'll take the +3, Malik Willis going against his former club. If they come away with it, wow, that's a great performance. I'll take the Titans, though, however, to win 23-21, but give me those cheesehead points at 3. All right, so the Raiders, however, pulled off a immaculate comeback against the Baltimore Ravens that are now 0-2. And right now, with what I'm seeing with the Raiders, I'm going to take them at +6. The reason for this, Gardner Minshew actually looks pretty damn good at quarterback. And you also know who else is emerging? Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers has literally looked like just at a class of his own at tight end. A receiving tight end and a solid pick at the end of the day. I knew he was going to arguably be one of the most interesting picks going into the most interesting organization like the Raiders, but he fits the culture. He fits exactly the work that Antonio Pierce is putting together. I like this position with the Raiders, and they're going against a Carolina Panthers team that now has benched Bryce Young, and they're going with Andy Dalton. I don't think this is going to be the same outcome because even though Andy Dalton has a 4-0 record in his career against the Raiders, this is a worse than worse talented team. I think the Raiders, coming off of that immaculate win against the Ravens, and with that defense not looking like one to scrap around with, I will take the Raiders comfortably at 6 points and get them to win 24-14. You know what? I underestimated the Seattle Seahawks for a bit there. I really did. I like with what Mike McDonald has literally done in 2 weeks. I'm going to take the Seahawks at -4.5. And the reason of this being is that, yes, Tua is out. Tua out for 4 weeks. In comes Skylar Thompson. Wah, wah, wah. That's not good. That's not good considering the fact that Skylar Thompson has a 60 quarterback rating. And the Dolphins, they look... it looks pretty bad. But now with the Seahawks, what they've done very well, though, is that Ryan Grube and company, they've been running the football. Geno Smith looks good where he's distributing the football. And by the way, look at Jackson Smith and Jigba in the last 2 weeks. He's starting to become a solidified 2, where now Tyler Lockett is a 3. So all 3 receivers are starting to really produce for the Seahawks. I'm going to take them here to win. Now the defense for the Miami Dolphins, they're going to have their hands full, but I'll tell you what, though. The Seahawks, in a game like this, I certainly am loving the points at 4.5. I'll be comfortable with that. I'll take the Seahawks. Give it to me at home, 27-17. Last year's best-worst team is starting to get better, and boy, did they look like a team totally different out of the gate. I'm going to take the Cardinals at +3 against the Detroit Lions. Now, the Lions, to me, here's the thing about it. The Lions play hard. But the hardest part is that they kind of looked a little stagnant in 2 weeks. They came away with an overtime win against the Rams. Now, I could be okay with that feeling, but you're going against a Cardinal team who completely humiliated the Rams, and the defense looked fantastic. Marvin Harrison Jr. has arrived, and then there's Trey McBride. That offense and Kyler Murray looks completely different here, by the way. So expect the points to literally go right up onto it. 3 points. It's a hard-nosed game. Give me the Cardinals here with a +3. I still think the Lions may win on the road with as close as it is. This might actually be the most exciting game of the week, by the way. I think it might be. Detroit wins with +3 on the Cardinals side, 24-23. Okay, this game was hard for me because the Dallas Cowboys, who got humiliated at home against New Orleans, they're still at home. They want a better outcome. Now, they are facing Lamar Jackson and company that's coming in, who's also pissed off after a loss to the Raiders. But here's my thing here. I'm going to take the Cowboys at +1. And here's the reason for this. Lamar Jackson, we know, is 20-1 against the NFC, which is one of those concerns I have. But the thing about it is that the Ravens, they're decimated on the offensive line. The offense, they had a 10-point lead, and then all of a sudden the defense started crumbling. Where the Raiders, they played hard-nosed offense and defense, and they kept themselves in the game. The Cowboys got humiliated against the New Orleans Saints. And I felt like that was a wake-up call. Dak and company needs to get something going up on this offense. If the Raiders could honestly pull off a win like they did, why not the Cowboys? I think the Cowboys could definitely turn things around, turn the page. I think they'll come up pissed off, humiliated, and they want to win up at home. I'll take them to win 24-23. And I get a little bit skeptical about Baltimore starting the year at 0-3. As much as I see how much of a trap game that this game may potentially be, I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers at -6.5. The reason of this is I think that the Niners are getting a break because we know they're without Debo. We know that they may potentially be without George Kittle, and they're without Christian McCaffrey. So all they have to work with is Jawan Jennings, and they also have to work with Brandon Ayuk that they paid. Brock Purdy is going to face adversity in this game. Now, here's the thing that kind of gives them a bit of a break. The Rams are so decimated on injuries. I feel so bad. They lost majority of their receiving core with Puka and with Cooper Kupp. The defense looks decimated with injuries, including that secondary. This is a trap game to me, but I have a feeling I think the 49ers might end up figuring some things out. It may be interesting, though, through and through. I'll take the Niners points. 6.5 is what it is. It's not going to be a fun game either, but I feel like that they could come away with it, take the points, 23-17 on the road against the Rams. Now, my upset alert is tingling, and I honestly do believe that the Atlanta Falcons are a legit team. They are a real fun team. I will take the Falcons at +3 after an impressive win against the Philadelphia Eagles on the road. Listen, the Falcons, they've worked up on that defense. They were giving a lot of teams different fits. Now, we know the first week was a bad mismatch. Arthur Smith, former coach, knew exactly how this organization played. But here's the other thing, too. Kirk Cousins last week was moving out of the pocket. He was moving. He was finally throwing the ball. And the offense looks like it's slowly cooking and it's building its fluidity. Now, here's the thing that kind of scares me about Kansas City. Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes looks human. He's been throwing interceptions, almost had a second against the Ravens in the opener. But when they played Cincinnati, that was one that Cincinnati literally had them dead in the water. So that's why I think the Falcons, with that defense at home on a Sunday night, I think the Falcons are definitely going to give a run at the Chiefs' money. I'll take them here to win with the +3 at home. Give me the points, 23-20. Falcons end up beating and upsetting the Kansas City Chiefs. As much as I love the Buffalo Bills, and in this particular situation at home, I'm going to take the Jags +5.5. If you've noticed something about the Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas, they're starting to connect. Now, there was a point where I think Christian Kirk, there could have been a little bit more that he should have done up onto the offense, but I think the Jaguars, because this is a much bigger situation than we think. Now, remember, we know that Josh Allen in that run game last week against the Miami Dolphins, James Cook was cooking. 3 touchdowns, and I feel like that the Bills have found their run game. However, though, it just feels like there could be something in the air here with this Monday Night Football game, but I feel like the Jags might make things interesting against the Bills. I'll still take the Bills to win, though, however, but maybe in a close margin, things might slow down, but I'm going to take it here 23-21 with the Jags 5.5. All right, so the Cincinnati Bengals, even though that I felt good about it, I think it's going to look a lot better. But 8 points? Come on, man. I think, honestly, the Washington Commanders, I'm going to give it +8 here with the points. But but I'll still take the Bengals to win here. Listen, the Commanders last week against the Giants, Jaden Daniels ended up completing over 70% of his throws. So Jaden Daniels is starting to look like that kind of rookie. But we know that against the Cincinnati Bengals, T. Higgins is returning. Jermaine Burton looked very good. And then there was one other player, one of their tight ends that I thought really, really looked very effective against that Chiefs defense. So I think the Bengals, they will come away with this win because remember, there are 0-2 teams that don't become 0-2 for very, very long. They may come away with that win. I'll take the Bengals here at the +8 from the Commanders. Still take them to win 24-17. There you go. BetUS always coming in the clutch with the betting odds. So, of course, to recap it, I took the Chargers +2, Bears +1, Texans -1, Giants +6.5, Eagles +3, Broncos +6, Packers +6 or +3, Raiders -6, Seahawks -4.5, Cardinals +3, Cowboys +1, Niners -6.5, Falcons +3, Jaguars +5.5, and the Commanders at +8. The dogs are literally barking very loud this week. They are barking really, really loud. So that's the part where I'm like, I think this is underdog week to me. So I feel good about it. I think this will be an interesting week, but hopefully we can turn this thing around. 7-9 week 1, 8-8 last week. So maybe we turn up the guns and maybe the dogs work out for me this week. So hopefully we can make it happen. And hopefully we can win ourselves some bomb money here. All right, folks. Well, that's going to do it here for me up onto the show. Thank you all for tuning in. And thank you all for an amazing week. Next week is where it's at. We're going to have some more guests up onto the show. I know you guys have been missing out on that. But we promise we're going to have lots of guests up on the show because we got to get ready for postseason. We got to get ready for postseason baseball. So, appreciate everybody for their time here. Show sponsored by BetUS. $50 or more in your deposit will match up to 125% bonus, up to $2,000 the more you deposit. And giving you the best guaranteed sports book in America. Go online to BetUS.com where the NFL season begins and sign up today. And also presented by SeatGeek. Don't lose your seat today in the biggest game, in the biggest stage, at the most affordable price with SeatGeek.com. Also on the app, through Google Play and the App Store. Download it today and use promo code SNAKESPORTS for $20 off of your first purchase of your first ticket. Jake Silva signing off. Gotta go, and we'll see you guys next week. See you guys.